I always thought that Bob Hope was the founder of stand-up comedy, but really had never gotten the recognition that he deserved. He's kind of off of most people's radar. He had a bad decade in the 1960s and early 70s during Vietnam, and he alienated much of a generation. But I think enough time has passed that it's time to take another look at Bob Hope, a kind of rediscovery of his work and how much of an innovator he was in show business. There were comedians in vaudeville before Bob Hope, but they were doing kind of packaged routines. They did jokes that were just sort of packaged and not relevant to anything. Bob Hope started doing jokes when he started on radio in 1938. He asked his writers to read the newspapers and give him material that came out of the news of the day, and also his own real life. And so he did monologues that really reached outside of the radio studio into what was happening in the real world. And that was, believe it or not, something that was brand new. In movies, Bob Hope began as a kind of conventional 1930s romantic comedy lead, but he wasn't that successful until in the early 40s he developed a very distinctive character, the brash coward, the guy who chases women but gets afraid of them the minute he catches up with them. He also became a very spontaneous and natural comedian on film at a time when the romantic comedies of the 30s were kind of artificial, and I think that Bob Hope was a breath of fresh air for comedy in the 1940s. Bob Hope came a little bit late to TV, but he still came pretty early, 1950, and he lasted for more than 4 decades, and that was unique because Bob Hope realized that week after week you could burn yourself out as a comedian and you burn out your appeal to fans. So he would put a strict limit on how many specials he would do, and every special became an event. But I think what Bob Hope's most important legacy is the things that he pioneered off the screen, all the ways in which he extended his brand to books and newspaper columns and even a golf tournament. And also that the star could be a public servant. Bob Hope was one of many celebrities who went overseas during World War II to entertain the troops. He was one of the very few who continued after the war and became the best-known sort of ambassador from Hollywood to our fighting men overseas and in the U.S. And this made him stand out from the rest of Hollywood. And I think he just became a model for the kind of way a Hollywood star could use his celebrity to sort of do a service to the men who were fighting for the country overseas. And this just set him apart from every other celebrity in Hollywood.